Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's actually a recording of the Srimad Bhagavatam class given by Srila Prabhupada in December 7, 1973 in Los Angeles, California. It's Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, and Text 29. We request that you increase the volume of our listening devices. Sometimes the level of recording here is a little low. Without further ado, we'll start the class.
Translation. Arjuna's constant remembrance of the lotus feet of Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa rapidly increased his devotion, and as a result, all the trash in his thoughts subsided.
So, material existence means full of anxiety. This is the sum and substance of material existence. Everyone is full of anxieties. Not only human, just like Karandar was speaking, there are so many bad news. What is that? What is Karandar?
Energy crisis, food shortage.
Yes, energy crisis, food shortage, and what else?
Economic turmoil.
And even Mr. Nixon is in such exalted post, he is also full of anxieties. When he will be kicked out. So find out any man who is not in anxiety. Not only human beings, but also animals, birds, beasts, everyone. That is the symptom of material existence. Anxieties. So spiritual life means anxiety less. This is the difference between material life and spiritual life. Brahma-bhuta prasannātma. In the Bhagavad Gita it is described what is spiritual life. As soon as you are identified with the absolute truth, Brahma, then symptoms will be prasannātma, jubilation. Oh, I do not belong to this material world. I belong to the spiritual world. I am part and parcel of Krishna. Why should I suffer so many things? That is jubilation. Brahma bhuta prasannātma. The prasannātma means na sochati na kāṅkhati. He has no lamentation, no hankering. Here people are always full anxieties because they have got hankering. I want this, I want that. And there is lamentation. What they possess, if it is lost, they cry, "Ah, my things are lost." And what they do not possess, they hanker. So, their anxiety is there, either he possesses or not possesses. This is material. If you have no money, then you will hanker after money. How to get money, how to get money, how to get money. And when you get money, then how to utilize it, where to keep it in the bank or in the house, or will take away, somebody will take away. So where is anxiety less? You possess or not possess, the real disease is anxiety. So when one becomes Brahma-bhuta, self-realized, identified with the absolute truth, then he has no more anxiety. This is the best education, when you become anxiety-less. That is perfection of education. So, when Prahlāda Maharaj was inquired by his father that what nice thing you have studied, my dear boy, in your school. So he replied, "My dear father, the best education I have received, how to become anxiety-less. That's all. Tat sadhu manne suravajjadena, not only for me, but for everyone. But you will not understand, my dear father, because you are demon number one." He is addressing his father, Suravajja, Asuravajja. Asura means demon. And Bhariya means the first class. He is not addressing his father as my dear father, my dear best of the atheists. Therefore his father was very angry. This child, he talks with me on equal level and does not fear me. Kill him. Asura, he is prepared to kill his son if he does not agree with him. You see? We are also prepared. If one is not devotee, if he is son, we can kill him. The same. But our is for Krishna and the Asuras is for himself. That is the difference. He wants to do everything for his personal satisfaction and we want to do everything for Krishna's satisfaction. That is the difference. The same propensities are there. But when it is applied for Krishna, then it is purified. And when it is applied for personal self, it is impure. This is the difference. The Prahlāda Maharaj said, the best education is that which makes one anxiety free. That is best education. Now, where is that education? Is there any education throughout the whole world? In so many universities, especially in your country, there are nice, very, very... Rather, they have created so much anxieties that the boys, they are frustrated. They are giving up everything, becoming hippies. Where is anxiety less? They increase anxiety. Increase anxiety. Tat sadhu manne suravajjadihina sada samudvignam. My dear father, the best of the asuras, I think that anyone who has accepted this material body is full of anxieties. Asat-grahat. Asat-grahat means, asat means temporary. Because he has accepted a body which is temporary, he is full of anxieties. That is the real problem. If we want to be anxiety less, no anxiety, then we have to refuse to accept this material body. Otherwise there is no possibility. All anxieties are due to this material body. Therefore Prahlāda Maharaj said, tat sadhu manne suravajjadehinam sada samudvignam asat grahat. This is the problem, that somehow or other we have come in contact with this material body. I am not this material body, you are not this material, we are soul. That realization required, that I am not this material body, therefore I am not American, I am not Indian, I am not white, I am not black, I am pure soul, aham brahmasmi. This is the real business of human society. Athato brahma jignasa. The swine is inquiring, where is stool, where is stool, where is stool? But a human being is also engaged in for that purpose, where is stool or where is food? Food is his food. And we are also whole day and night with motor car going this way, where is food, where is food? Diva charte haya rajul. Kutumba bharaneinava. The whole day is spent. So many motor cars going this way and that way. What is the business? Now where is money? Where is food? Where is shelter? And as soon as you get shelter, money and food, kutumba bharaneinava, then how to feed my children, how to feed my wife, how to feed my country, how to feed society. This is anxiety. This is anxiety. They nidra hyate natram. At night they want to become anxiety less by sleeping or by sex life. They want to forget anxiety. This is their business. Nidra hyate natram. They think that if I sleep, then I shall be. Let me drink so that there will be very deep sleep. And that is not possible. You dream, very ferocious dream you are dreaming. So, and sex life, that is also temporary, free. So these are not the methods. Method is, here it is, as is recommended by Arjuna. Vāsudeva Anudhyānam. Anudhyānam. Anu means constantly. And dhyānam means meditation. They have manufactured so many meditation without Vāsudeva. That so-called transcendental meditation club and yoga ashram. But go there, what you meditate upon? Zero. That is there. Yes. They cannot say, what is that meditation? What is that transcendental meditation? No rascal will be able to explain. But they will call big words, transcendental meditation. And what is that transcendental meditation? Please explain. That cannot be explained. You see? Is it not? But we have got definite vāsudevāṅghry-anudhyāna. It is said. Vāsudevāṅghry-anudhyāna paribṛṁhita-raṁhasā. Here is Vāsudeva, Krishna. You come here and see very minutely how Vāsudeva is dressed nicely, how he is playing on his flute, how he is situated with his eternal consort, Srimati Radharani, how he is enjoying her company. So nice thing for meditation. But why you are after zero? You see the rascal now. Here is such nice object for meditation, and they are trying to meditate upon zero. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita says, Klesa adhikatarastesam abhakta saptachetasam. Klesa, there trouble is more. We can meditate upon Krishna immediately. We are constantly seeing Krishna here. So as soon as I close my eyes, I see Krishna. That is not very difficult. Anything you see, you will be able to immediately have the form within your heart immediately. So there is no difficulty. But they will create some difficult task. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita, klesa adhikatarastesam. To fix up the mind on Vasudeva or Vishnu, that is also difficult. But those who are trying to fix up their mind on zero, their position is more difficult. Adhikatara. Adhikatara means more. So, people are voluntarily accepting some nonsense method and they are not happy. That is their misfortune. Misfortune. Naradhama. Everything is there. But because they are duskritina, naradhama. Duskritina means misfortunate or always engaged in sinful activities. They will not meditate upon Vasudeva. They will meditate on something, some collar, some zero, or something like that. We do not know what kind of meditation that is. But real meditation recommended in the Vedas, dhyanavasthita tatgatina manasa pasantijam yogina. Yogi is see the Supreme Personality of Godhead by meditation. Meditation. Dhyanavasthita tatgatina manasa. Mind is absorbed in the Supreme Personality. That is the real process of yoga system and meditation. To see the form of Vishnu. Dhyanavasthita tadgatina manasa. This is the recommended process, standard recommended process. So here, if you simply think of Krishna, Krishna recommends also that. Manvana bhava mad bhakta. This Krishna consciousness movement is nothing. Just to train people how to think of Krishna and how to become devotee of Krishna. That's all. So you may become devotee, but you will become devotee. If you think of Krishna, naturally you will become devotee. So, but think of Krishna, is it very difficult task? Very simple, very easy. Even a child can do it. Here is Krishna, you can think of. So you go on thinking, you'll be attached. You'll be attached. Ādau sadhya tato sadhu sangha. And thinking of Krishna in association of the devotees. Not alone, then you'll go to hell. Alone will not do. The association is so strong that anyone who is coming to our association, not that we are everyone teaching, but by association he wants to become devotee. By association, automatically. So the association is so powerful. Therefore Narottam Das Thakur says, Tadero charana sevi bhakto sane bas. Janame mor ei abhilash. He is praying, my dear Lord, this is my ambition, birth after birth. What is that? That to be engaged in the service of the Acharya, Guru, and in the association of devotees. This is perfection. Janame mor ei. This is my desire. I don't want to stop my birth, but simply I want that I may take birth, it doesn't matter. But bhakta saneba, let me live with the devotees. That is it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kita janma ho jatha tua das, bohirmukh brahma janme nahi moras. He says that if I forget you and take my birth as Lord Brahma, I don't want it. I don't want it. What is the use of taking a birth like Brahma? But I shall like to take my birth as a small, insignificant insect where a devotee is there. This is the ambition of devotee. I shall prefer to become an insect because there are different varieties of living entities, beginning from Brahma down to the insect, insignificant. In the middle there are so many varieties, aquatics, trees, plants, demigods and man, human being, so many things. So this is the end and one end to another. Abrahma bhuna stambha, but insignificant ant, nobody cares for, and Brahma is very important, supreme person within this. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that I will not prefer a birth like Brahma if I forget you. But I will prefer to become an insect if I remain with your devotee. Because if one remains with the devotee, he will not forget Krishna. That is the advantage. Just like when you go, people address you, Hare Krishna. It is very great benefit. Automatically they chant Hare Krishna. We have seen it all over the world. And when I was going from London to Nairobi, we stopped at Athens. There, dead of night, and we are in the what is called that transit room. Lunch. So as soon as they saw us, Hare Krishna. So this is advantage. Ahavato sapachito pigaryan ajajibhagri-namatubham. Even a dog eater chants Hare Krishna, he becomes glorified. So this chant should be given. Let them chant Hare Krishna, either willfully or jokingly or anywhere. Let him chant Hare Krishna. This is the movement. Let him chant. Once let his tongue utter this transcendental vibration, Hare Krishna, his life will be successful. It is such nice moment. You haven't got to do anything. Simply you come here and see Radha Krishna. He will be benefited. It is very easy. Susukham kartum abhayam. And once you get the impression of Radha Krishna per meditation, and if you increase, then life is your success. Life is successful. Because as soon as you become little inclined to see Radha Krishna within your heart, that means you have developed his love. Just like if you love somebody, you want to close your eyes and see his face, your child or your lover. Similarly, as soon as you practice this, how to see, meditate upon Krishna, that means you develop. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayesu vilokayanti. Then, gradually, it will increase and you will be perfect. It is very easy. This process of Krishna consciousness is so easy and so pleasant. Anyone can take. There is no difficulty. And if you become Krishna conscious completely, always thinking of Krishna, by anudhyānam, always anudhyānam, thinking of Krishna, anyone can do it. Then you become perfect. Taktādeham punarjanma naiti māmeti kaunti. That is the problem. However, what is the problem? Problem is that we are full of anxiety. Why you are full of anxiety? Because you have accepted this material body. So if you stop accepting material body, there is no anxiety. That can be done by vāsudevāṅghry-anudhyāna. Constantly thinking of Krishna. So you haven't got to pay any price. You are not losing anything. But you are becoming a great, perfect man. Why do you don't accept this process, Krishna consciousness? Why you are after something false thing? Just see how unfortunate people are in this Kali Yuga. They will not accept the real thing without any payment, without any loss. Everything is gain. They will accept something nonsense and go to hell. Just see, this is Kali Yuga. The Kali Yuga is so powerful that it will not allow you to accept the real thing. You will be after non-real thing and waste your time and valuable life. This life is meant for Krishna realization. It is not meant for anything, any other business. Therefore Narottam Das Thakur sings, Hari Hari bhi phale janama goain. My dear Lord, I have simply wasted my time. Why? Manusya janama paya Radha Krishna. I got this valuable human form of life, but I did not worship Radha Krishna. This is my fault. Janiya suniya bisha khain. It is just like knowingly I have taken poison. So anyone who is not taking to Krishna consciousness, as Krishna advised, sarvadharman parityajya, he is simply drinking poison. Drinking poison, that's all. And what is the effect of poison? You die. Not only this life, life after life. Bhaktyā praliyate. You will accept this life, again it give up, again another body, again another, and that you do not know. There is no guarantee what kind of body you are going to get. But they are so rascals, they do not understand that I am going to get another body. And there are so many varieties of body. If I get the body of a tree, now standard up for 7,000 years, how much risk we are taking? But all these risks can be avoided in this human form of life, simply by thinking of Vasudeva, simply by thinking of Krishna. Why people are reluctant? This is their misfortune. Therefore Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Ei rupe brahmana bhramite kono bhagyavanch. This Krishna consciousness can be accepted only by the most fortunate person. Not less fortunate, alpamedhasa, those who have got little brain, a little fortunate, they cannot. Sukriti no, Sukrita no. Sukriti no means very fortunate, very pious. And Duskriti no cannot take it. Vāsudeva, thinking of Vāsudeva Krishna is very easy. But those who are sinful, they cannot take to it. That is difficult. Therefore we say, stop these 4 pillars of sinful life. Illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating and gambling. These are the 4 pillars of sinful life. If you accept these 4 pillars, then your sinful life is very strong. Break this from the very beginning. There will be no more sinful life. If you simply stop, what is the difficulty? If you do not smoke or do not drink, will you die? We have got so many devotees, they do not smoke, they do not drink. Are they dying? They do not play any gambling. Are they dying? They do not take meat. Are they dying? They do not have any illicit sex. Are they dying? It is artificial. Mayas. Artificial. They just like so many cigarette packets are advertised. Although there is written on the, what is that? It is dangerous.
Smoking may be hazardous to your health.
Yes, still the rascal will take. Still the things will be advertised. The government is writing on the packet, it is dangerous, but they are not closing the factory of the cigarette. That will, because they want income. You see? This is going on, cheating. And if you don't like it, why don't you stop this? But that they will not do. Simply show bottle. So this Krishna consciousness movement is that we want to stop this show bottle business. Everyone must be a real leader, then people will be happy. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. This lecture is really to the point about the life that we're supposed to lead and the life that we shouldn't be leading. Very much the point. It's a short lecture. We're just getting on 8:30 now. But there's plenty of opportunities for those who want to share their realizations from this to do so. So you can unmute yourself if you want to share and let's have a discussion here. There's so many points that Śrīla Prabhupada brought up that are very nice and very also informative for us. Hare Krishna. Please unmute yourself if you want to share. Okay, while the Buddhists are thinking about this, the very end here, Śrīla Prabhupada said, especially about the cigarette package, they advertised, he said 2 things. One, it's show bottle on the part of the manufacturers, on the part of the business people, because they print on the packet of cigarette that is hazardous to health. Well, now, if it is hazardous to health, then why are the businesses producing what is hazardous in the first place? If they really believe that it's hazardous to their health, they would not produce it because they're not conscious. It's just about kind of making money. That's what they want. And the people also who are smoking cigarettes, they see the same warning on the package and they smoke anyway. And speaking about this, I noticed one thing in Hershey Medical Center. I was there the other day. I have to, because of the age, I have to be checking regularly. And there are 2 lines. I didn't believe this. 2 lines. One for those who have all kinds of challenges with cancer. And the other line for those who had any kind of other disease separate from cancer. So there's one side, the general diseases, they go to that side. And then the other section is for different types of cancers, the cancer patients. And what I noticed, and more than once I noticed that, the line, the queue for those dealing with being checked in on account of cancer was actually longer than the line for the other types of all the other types of diseases put together. In more than one occasion, I saw this trend. So it's quite interesting that what we eat, the Srila Prabhupada just told us, people should obey the regulatory principles. Once you obey the regulatory principles, then simple life is gone. Then he also challenged people who are not. So many devotees, they don't smoke, they don't drink, but they're not dying. They don't gamble, they're not dying. They don't take any meat, they're not dying. They say, are they dying? They don't have any illicit sex, are they dying? So it's all artificial. It's all artificial, dumped on us and made us to think like that. Anyway, that's some of the things that I picked up, points that I picked up from Srila Prabhupada towards the end of the lecture. Still, since I'm host, we have to allow others to unmute themselves to want to share in the conversation. Whatever that you picked up that you thought was quite significant, that you'd like to repeat, to share, please unmute yourself and do that. Hare Krishna. Don't be shy. We know each other. Please start. Unless your work situation is such that you can't. But in the meantime, I'll add a little more. Srila Prabhupada started talking about material existence, which is something we're all going through. Material existence means anxiety. We shared that. Anxiety. And all kinds of anxieties are there. Sometimes it's the energy crisis. Sometimes it's food shortage. Sometimes it's a politician like Nixon in a very difficult position. Like that. Right now, what little that I heard that I saw as a headline is that there's water shortage in Iran. And then I was thinking, oh, they want to make nuclear bombs, but they can't even supply the country with enough water. From the basic things, they spend so much money on these things to destroy, but they can't even make sure that they get some water for the country and for the citizens. That's what's there now. And they've been through all kinds of fighting. So sometimes we have our priorities upside down. Anyway, food shortage, energy crisis, this gives anxiety. But Srila Prabhupada compared it to spiritual life and says spiritual life is anxiety-less. Don't go to anxiety. There's no hankering and no lamentation. People hanker for things because they want this, I want that, I want that. And worse, if they're envious of somebody who has something they want. And now they want, and they're envying at the same time. They want that thing, and they're envying that someone else has it and they don't. This shouldn't be a devotee life. We are only here temporarily. And this place is challenging. So we should be planning to get out of the material world, not thinking about things here and hankering for stuff. And then when they get it too, there's lamentation. Lamenting about what could happen to it. That thing will happen. But for the body, there's no hankering, no lamentation. So when one identifies, that's the reason, identifies with the absolute truth, then there's no more anxiety. Srila Prabhupada talked about Hiranyakashipu and his son Prahlad Maharaj, when Prahlad Maharaj was addressing his father as a first-class demon. And he said, my dear father, you can be anxiety-free. You have to connect with Vishnu. But you won't understand. Because Hiranyakashipu was a big-time materialist. Wanted a lot of power, like the demons do. So in this country, meaning the United States, anxiety has been increased. But Prahlad Maharaj is saying that anyone who has accepted a material body is full of anxiety. So it's the material body that gives us all of this anxiety. When you think about it, what anxiety do we ever get on account of the soul? We don't even ever think like that. It's always something that puts us in anxiety that's related to the physical body. The mind goes through this, so the physical and the subtle body They take us to anxiety, but never the soul. So Srila Prabhupada said we should refuse to accept the material body. Now, how you do that? First, recognize that we're spirit souls. We're not this material body. Atata Brahma Jigyasa. Because we're in anxiety, just like the animals, the hog is also looking constantly for stew. That's its delicacy. And people are also with so many motor cars going here and there. Where is food? Where is shelter? People go to work just to get money, put in their bank account, so that they do what? Get food, get shelter, get clothes, those kind of things. And the body is getting old. That's you get the reward that the body gives us is to get old and gives us more pain and trouble. So, Srila Prabhupada also talked about transcendental meditation. The people have invented some transcendental meditation without Krishna. So that doesn't make any sense. I think we do Swaka, I think Vishnu. People don't know that life is actually for serving Lord Vishnu. And all the things that come with that service. Transcendental meditation. Srila Prabhupada said, we are meditating on Radha Krishna, and they are meditating on zero. Yes, when they say transcendental meditation, there are no mantras, nothing. They just are quiet in whatever other postures and other things that they do. But they are meditating on nothing. But we are constantly seeing Krishna, so much so that even if we close our eyes, we've seen Radha Krishna and we close our eyes, our mind's eye also continues to see. So we see Radha Krishna in our minds. So fixing the mind on zero, that's more difficult. Therefore, people are Naradama. Naradama is lowest of mankind. Who's Krishna, most unfortunate. What the yogis do? They meditate to see the form of Vishnu. And Krishna recommends that we think of devotees. We think of him and other devotees to serve him. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. He says, always think of me and become my devotee. Think of Krishna, but then Srila Prabhupada made a very important point that that's also my take home. Think of Krishna in the association of devotees. If you notice that everything that we do in Bhakti Yoga, if we do in the presence of devotees, it becomes easier than when we do by ourselves. It's always easier. Even when you go to Mangalati, which we don't in this particular center we have in Harrisburg, but other temples that have Mangalati in the morning, sometimes 4:30 if you're in New Vrindavan, it starts at 5 o'clock. But when the program to welcome the deities in the morning is over and the Tulsi Puja is also over, then people start chanting. When you're in the temple chanting in the presence of other devotees chanting japa, everybody has their bead bag and chanting. Not only is the concentration on the mantra excellent, but it flows so well that effortlessly you can get to 16 rounds. Effortlessly. We do the same thing at home. We do the same thing on japa walk. And sometimes you have to put in more effort. But in the temple, it flows easily because you're chanting and also hearing the holy name at the same time from other devotees. So it's very, very, very wonderful like that. So, anyway, I'll just pause here because I know there's, I just see there's a chat on here, message in the chat from dear Krishna Prabhu. So let me just go on with that. Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance, all God, Srila Prabhupada. How should one deal if there are spiritual anxieties, like whether am I following, whether I'm following the path of Krishna consciousness correctly? If not, what if I'm committing offenses that I'm not even aware of? And what if I couldn't make it and I have to take birth again and go through the atrocities of material life? So all of these questions can come up. Yes, a very nice set of questions that you've asked. So we'll take them one by one by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. How should we deal if there are spiritual anxieties? Like whether I am following the path of Krishna consciousness correctly or not. All right? That's why we have teachers. That's why we have spiritual masters. That's why it is important to hear. The hearing really broadens our mind about Krishna consciousness, and it also corrects the things that we're doing. On top of that, if we're doing anything wrong, by hearing, we could hear the right thing to do and therefore make the correction. That's one. Secondly, if you've been around for a while, and even have to be that long in Krishna consciousness, you realize that you get prompts from within. You get prompts. Some people get prompts daily from within. Some people get prompts early in the morning, as soon as they get up. What was done wrongly the previous day? What needs to be corrected? What is the problems are in our Krishna consciousness in terms of not doing some things correctly? They'll come up along with suggestions on how to fix them. If we give our hearts to Krishna, it will happen. So we can hear from Guru, we can hear from senior devotees, we can hear from the preachers who are going according to what the Shastra says to do. This is what Lord Chaitanya said. Don't change anything in the Shastra. Preach according to that. Certainly you can give examples, but the bottom line should be what's in the Shastra. Presented as is. And that will help us to get our minds purified. And with the purification of the mind connects to the senses. And the senses are the ones that do things. So when the mind gets purified, the senses automatically follow doing what the right thing is. And when we train ourselves to do the right thing, the mind becomes our friend. And now it doesn't ask us to go do things in Maya, but it actually prompts us to do things that are right. In Krishna consciousness. Now, as far as offenses go, that's the next point that Dev Krishna Prabhupada made. Very, 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 very important to be cautious about it. Realize that in the spiritual world, offenses aren't committed. If we want to be part of the spiritual community in the spiritual world, we cannot and will not be allowed there if we're going to take that attitude of being offensive to that place. They will not allow us. Therefore, offenses, we have to realize, tell the mind, this is self-sabotage. If we commit offenses, we are sabotaging our opportunity to go back to Godhead. So that warning should go on our minds about that. Yes, sometimes we commit offenses, we're not even aware that what we've done is an offense. That devotees deal with, especially if you commit offense, you don't commit offense to yourself, you commit offense to others. So in the assembly of devotees, when the opportunity comes, you see some devotees would say, if by any chance I've committed offense to anyone, please forgive me. And they would just put a general announcement out there like that. Please forgive me. That will cover the offenses that we're not even aware of. But when we keep hearing, then we will get to know offenses that we didn't at first think that it was offensive. But just from hearing, you get educated more, and then you understand the nuances of this devotional life, and then you begin to be more careful about being offensive. But in general, do not use harsh words towards devotees. Never use harsh words towards devotees. Whatever your mood is, whatever your feeling, the emotions are, the words that come out should be mild. If it got to the point where it is too much and anger is setting in, then you have to physically remove yourself from the situation. Physically remove yourself from the situation. Just excuse yourself and get out. Then you don't commit an offense. It's better to be away from the situation and to stay in it and then begin to use words that you regret later on. What about if we couldn't make it and have to take birth again? And go through the atrocities of material life again? We should be determined We went to school, we were determined to get a degree, and we just did all of the austerities that it would take to get the degree. Why not in the spiritual life? So again, we have to train the mind to go after what's best for us. Srila Prabhupada says it's these bodies that put us in anxiety. Anxieties are around bodies. So then we should try to make this life the last one. This body, the last one. And that's exactly what Krishna wants us to do. Exactly what the spiritual master wants us to do. To make this body the last one. And so you should be very determined. And it is there in the nectar of instruction. You have to be very, very determined. We have to stay enthusiastic. And as far as enthusiasm goes, sometimes if we're down, be around somebody, associate with somebody that's enthusiastic. I have seen this happen in the temple quite a bit. Sometimes it comes to kirtan, and there'll be some devotees that are more enthusiastic than others. And all they have to do, who are not that enthusiastic, is just copy what the enthusiastic person is doing, and you become enthusiastic. It's not hard at all. So whatever we short of that we know is good for us, associate with somebody that's got lots of that, that's full of that particular thing that we are a little bit short of. And be with them and imitate. You start first by imitating. Remember, that's how we learn our ABCs? In first grade, the teacher says A, and we said A, and later on we learn what A looks like, and we'll learn how to draw it. Then B, then C. We just repeat it. And then we got good at it. And then we learn how to draw, and then the next thing, we're writing words and so on, and pronouncing them too properly. So it's all from the teacher is saying, and we just imitating. So imitate what the person that has the qualities you want. Imitate that person. And then you get to, it becomes a part of you. Even in sales, they do the same thing also. Many salespeople who are experienced, they speak, it looks like they're speaking conversationally. Don't ever fall for that. They have learned the words and they speak it in a conversational way, but they've learned it. They know exactly when to go from one point to the other. And they control the conversation, even though it is just like one person talking regular stuff to another. So we can train like that, can train the mind. And that way, you're going to take bodies, material bodies again, you don't have atrocities to go through. Because spiritual life is very nice. That's where atrocities are really gone, even while we're leading spiritual life in the material world. The negativity would only be ways in which we learn some lessons. That's it. And we get so much protection. So the opportunity is there for everybody. Thank you for the set of questions that you asked in this chat. Any other questions? Or anybody else wants to share? If not, then I'll just take another minute and then finish off what I was writing. Srila Prabhupada said something that's very, very important. Think of Krishna in the association of devotees. The more we do Krishna consciousness activity in the association of devotees, the better off we are. The better off we are. So our best friends should be devotees. We like to call and talk to our friends. Those friends should be devotees. Very important. That way, then you can talk about Krishna freely in the conversation. And you help to remind each other about Krishna. Srila Prabhupada talked about Bhaktivinoda Thakur's statements that he doesn't want to take birth as Brahma. Srila Prabhupada first talked about Brahma and the insignificant ant. Brahma is the biggest demigod with all kinds of powers, and an ant is rather insignificant in terms of ability. And all of these other bodies are between those two extremes. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I don't want to take birth as Brahma if it means that I'll forget Krishna. I'd rather be an ant if I'm around devotees. So being around devotees is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada advised simply chant and go to the temple to see Radha Krishna. Then your life will be successful. if we practice how to see Radha Krishna, then gradually our lives will be successful. He said, anyone who thinks of Krishna constantly will have a perfect life. So constantly think of Krishna, and we'll stop accepting the material body, which means this one will be the last one. There's a mercy. If we put in the effort, the mercy from Guru and mercy from Krishna, the mercy from Srimati Radharani, they're all there. They are accessible. We have to put in the best effort that we can possibly do. In all our spiritual activities, they should be looked at with more seriousness than even the material activities involving our jobs and everything. The spiritual should take the greatest priority in our minds, and it should be handled that way. Bhakti Yoga is our life. Success in our life is not from the biggest job or the most money we make, but being successful in Bhakti Yoga. That's what takes us out of this material body. And I'll just throw one more thing in. There was a short, now on YouTube that they have shorts. So now put Srila Prabhupada there, and the shorts, that is short statements made by Srila Prabhupada. One very nice statement that's a reminder to everybody. Some people may not even know this. Here in the material world, you have to work. You have to work to sustain yourself. If you're not the one working, maybe your spouse is working, but somebody is bringing in money from work. That's the way it is in the material world. Everything is available, but you have to work for it. You have to work to get it. In the spiritual world, you don't work. Srila Prabhupada made that distinction. In the spiritual world, you don't have to work. Whatever you desire in the material world, you have to work for it. But there are desire trees in the spiritual world, so whatever you desire, it gets given to you. So you don't work in the spiritual world, but in the material world, you have to work. Now the question is, would any person with half a brain, what would they choose? The place where you have to work and get old and get diseased, or the place that you don't have to work, everything is supplied as you like, as you desire, you supply. And that's why those in the spiritual world don't lament either. You don't have to lament. You desire it, you'll get it. So there's no reason to lament. So we are very fortunate to be connected with this process of Bhakti Yoga, because in the end, there is no loss. It's all gain. It's just a question of how seriously we take it at this point. Hare Krishna. Any last questions? Let me see. Okay. All right. I was just checking the chat to make sure. Okay, good. So thank you very much for coming on, and have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Take life seriously, because all the solutions to the anxieties is just there in the spiritual world. You just have to make it there. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhishcha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai.